Hi, I'm Dr. George Yancey. Let's share some paradigms. The paradigm I'll share today concerns free speech, Bondi, and Kimmel. So I want to talk about free speech. About a week or so ago, Pam Bondi made what I consider a disturbing comment. Now, I consider myself a minor part, a very minor part of a free speech movement in our country. There's people who are much more active, do a lot more with it. But on principle, I've been very supportive, mostly social media support. I may have written an article or two, but I'm very supportive of the notion of free speech. So when Bondi commented that there's free speech and there's hate speech, I was disturbed. Because, you see, a lot of times on the left, this was used as a precursor to attack free speech. Because hate speech legally, it's not a thing. Even if it was, hate speech is free speech. Because if it's not, then who decides what is hate speech so that we can remove your right to speak? So this has been a big bugaboo for those of us who've been talking about free speech. And so I was upset, and I posted, the conservatives are now where the liberals were. Conservatives are now officially opposing free speech, calling it hate speech. Now here's where the surprise came in. I thought I'd get pushback from my conservative friends saying, no, this is really hate speech. A man had just been assassinated. Kirk was dead because of this hate speech. We must control it. Instead, many of them criticized Bondi. And it wasn't just my friends. A lot of the higher ups, a lot of the big names in the conservative movement criticized Bondi. Some even asking for her to be fired. I didn't see that coming. I'll be honest. To me, that revealed that among the conservatives, it appeared that free speech was a consistent value. And then the controversy with Kimmel came up. As you may know, Kimmel made a statement concerning how MAGA wants to make sure the shooter's not one of theirs. And I'll be honest, it's a very insensitive statement. It's devoid of fact. There's no evidence that the person is MAGA at all. All the evidence is that the killer is of the left. None of that, no evidence whatsoever. It was a cheap shot by Kimmel. But you know what? He's allowed to do that. And you're allowed to critique him. I just did. But then Brendan Carr made a disturbing comment on how, well, we may have to take care of this if it's not taken care of. Make no mistake about it. It was a veiled threat. Now, Kimmel's show was suspended, and it may have been suspended anyways. His ratings were not too great. But we have this comment hanging over our head. Did the government influence the network to suspend Kimmel? We'll never know. We won't know because the network could say, well, no, it didn't influence us. But really, would they be telling the truth? What's the government doing, interfering with the network's decision to hire or suspend whoever they want to, on the basis of what they said? Not profanity, not anything like that, on the basis of, my opinion, an ill-advised comment. My free speech bona fides reared up once again. This time, though, the conservatives did not push back on Carr. Many of them supported what he said and made the arguments that this was not a case of free speech. So on the one hand, you have the conservatives supporting free speech in the case of Bondi. No doubt about it. I give them full credit for that. On the other hand, conservatives are pulling back on free speech when it came to Kimmel. Why? Let me hypothesize. But before I do, let me just say that if you enjoy this sort of conversation, if this is something that you like to get into, a more nuanced way, a way of looking beyond left and right, then I would encourage you to consider subscribing and join this channel. If you like this comment, give me a like. If you don't like it, give me why don't you make a comment on it? Make a comment if you do like this video. this will be very encouraging to me and also help support this channel and get it out to more people. So, and if you know someone who might enjoy this sort of conversation, pass the channel on to them. Pass this video on to them. All right, now let's get back to it. My theory as to what's happening is this. Conservatives support free speech in the abstract. Bondi talked about hate speech is not free speech. Well, that's kind of an abstract. She didn't give a specific example of what is hate speech that should be punished. So in the abstract, and for reasons I think that conservatives have been at the wrong end of some of these attacks, conservatives supported free speech. When we got to a specific type of speech that they don't like, Kimmel's comment, now all of a sudden it became real, right? It became real that, oh no, we don't like this comment. This is not what we want. And they became more open to the government using its influence to try to influence a network to suspend and perhaps even fire Kimmel. The sad part about that is I tend to think that Kimmel's on his way out anyways for a variety of reasons. The nature of late night talk is changing, and honestly, he's not very funny. His audience is shrinking. The government, all it had to do was do nothing. And if the network on its own lets him go, I'm not going to complain. None of my free speech peers are going to complain because that's the network's decision. We're disturbed by the government interfering. This provides us insight. It's easy to support something in the abstract. It's when we actually have to support it in a very specific circumstance, the rubber hits the road. And we find out whether or not we support free speech or not. I support free speech for people across the spectrum. I support free speech for people I disagree with because I believe in the principle of free speech. People who are coming to the defense of free speech only now, when someone on the left, I have no confidence they support free speech. People on the right who support free speech before, but now with Kimmel saying, this is, I don't support this type of free speech. You're not really supporting free speech. Either support free speech for everyone, or you don't support free speech. I think that when we're looking at our principles, we have to ask the question, do we support for people we disagree with, or only for those we agree with? Well, I hope you enjoyed this talk. And once again, if you enjoy it, please support me. And please come back. We can shatter some more paradigms.